Welcome to JustWannaQuilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School, where we explore all kinds of things, stories about quilting, tools, field trips, maybe some famous quilters stop by, and, of course, a little bit of copyright thrown in just for fun. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Townsend Guard. I'm a law professor, and I just want to quilt. Hi, this is Elizabeth Townsend Guard, and I thought I would do a quick recap of our first week, which was filled with lots of things. So first of all, we got out 18 interviews, 18 episodes, plus a bonus episode of me and Patty talking about the Quilt Festival. So that was remarkable. A few little snafus, a few little audio problems, which we're fixing. Thank you so much for those that responded back and told us, commented, and told us when there were kind of little hiccups. So what did we learn this first week? We had Bob from Quilts Inc. He told us about Quilt Market and Quilt Festival and how that all grew up. And that was super interesting. Cheryl Sloboda from Muppin.com and So Much Cosplay talked about her life and how she became an quilt influencer. That was episode 2. Todd Purcell from Superior Thread talked about his parents and how they started Superior Threads and their relationship with Japan, and that Egyptian cotton really comes from Egypt. And it was really interesting. We'll find that there's a lot of stories like that are about families starting businesses. I hear that a lot. And then the kids take over, which is super interesting too. Maureen Collins on, and she is a law professor who also does copyright. And she was one of the first conversations I had about this project. So she's super interesting. She's really interested in art quilts and has this sort of philosophy. I think we very much match in our philosophy on copyright and kind of the rules of the road in some way. We also had in episode 6 Edith Gross, who is only been quilting for 3 years, and she's like a quilting savant. So that was super interesting. I really like that. And she hopefully is going to do some YouTube videos for us to help us learn her secrets, because her quilts are like insanely spectacular. Vanessa Varga Wilson, Crafty Gemini, we had a part 1 and part 2, I think, and she told us about her rise to internet stardom, and it was really interesting, and I think she's the coolest ever. Maddie Road Hayes, she's the Mondo Bag and Quilt Smart, and I adore Maddie. I really do. Oops. We also had Sherry Ashford of Copper Canyon Quilts. She has a new shop, and she's incredible, incredibly dynamic, full of ideas, and her shop is really interesting. It's in Lake Havasu, Arizona, and we had a little snafu on the sound, so we're going to replay that and post that soon. So we also had Judy Walker and Jill Elliott, sisters who quilt. They're like a family of quilters. They're maniacs. They have not just one, but 2 family guilds. They're just lovely and insane and wonderful, and their lives are full of quilts. We also had Tasanaki Crazy Bull. She is a quilter, a podcaster, and she's military and living in Ghana. I think she's really cool, and her stuff is just beautiful. And we chatted about her experiences as a quilter and as a podcaster. We had Heather Kubiak, who is a quilter and an attorney, and she is one that gives lectures at Quilt Market and Quilt Festival, and is attorney for many people you know. And she'll be coming back with us and chatting with us, as will Maureen Collins, about copyright stuff. Then we had me and Patty in the car going to Quilt Festival, which was ridiculous, but you all seem to actually listen to all of that, which is really interesting. That was Tuesday. Wednesday, we had part 2 of Vanessa's, and Julia Driscoll, who was one of our first interviewers, who's out of Chicago. It's part of our quilting army and is incredibly awesome. I just adore Julia. She's so willing to play in crazy ways. Leah Day, super psyched, super fancy, fabulous and very famous quilter. Leah Day came on Thursday. And Amy Milne of Quilt Alliance. And Quilt Alliance, we're going to work with Quilt Alliance as part of this. Then Friday, today, we have Jill Rep, who is from June Taylor. They have been super generous and keep sending us sample research supplies to understand the products they create. And we will be doing a follow-up on that. We have a second one already taped, and we'll do a third one because a really nice size box. I like big boxes. A big box just arrived today from them again. And Gigi Bay, who is part of our quilting army, and I adore her. She's full of energy and so positive and makes you feel like you can do anything. So that was the lineup of interviews for this last week. I hope if you didn't get a chance to listen to them, go back. They're kind of, you don't have to listen in any order. Just if one of them sounds interesting, listen to it. And we also will have more coming up next week. So I will post a little preview of, we'll do 4 episodes next week. We're still trying to figure out if we should do 2 on Wednesday, 2 on Monday, 2 on Wednesday, or do 1 a day. So if you have suggestions on that, that's super great. For iTunes, we get all this strategy of like how to get into new and noteworthy, which I don't know if we'll ever get into that, but we need a ton of comments, but also doing 2 posts, posting 2 on a day, twice a week seemed to be something that people were saying for strategy. So I don't know. What else? We did 2 events this week. There's copies of those on our Facebook page. Uptown Needle and Craftworks was our big lunch. And then we did a kind of what is a shop, which you all know what a shop is, but we went to a shop and sort of looked around and chatted with them. And then there was a Moda rep there, which is so funny. So we got to sort of see the day in the life of the shop and meet some of the students. So that's what happened this week. I just want to quickly say thanks again to those that are listening. Super awesome. If you have suggestions, we so can use suggestions. And the suggestions that have come in, you've been so kind. My rule has always been, like, my number one rule is just kindness. I kind of can deal with everything else. So that's it. So I wanted to also quickly say, what is the Quilting Army? The Quilting Army is a group of us who just want to quilt. We have a Facebook group. The idea behind it is I don't want to do this project by myself. So join the Army, participate as much as you want, and play. So what kind of things will we be doing? Field trips. So sometimes field trips as a group, like we're going to go on an adventure, but also reports back on things. So if you have something local in your town that they're doing a quilting event or craft event and you want to come chat about your experiences of what happened or what it is, so insanely cool. Julia Driscoll did one of those for us, and it was really interesting. And we're also going to have projects. So part of this is it's a research podcast. So it's not perfect and it's not pretty always. But what I'm trying to understand is, first, why we love to quilt. So that's all the interviews. Secondly, what's the role of intellectual property within this system? So intellectual property is copyrights, trademarks, patents. And we're trying to do some sort of interesting field work. So one of the projects we're working on right now, well, we've got a couple. One is about licensing fabric. So another one is on Sunbonnet Sue. So as we go, I would love for you all to help. It's not hard, but sort of we'll put out some call to actions for a research project and get the Army involved. And that will turn into more fancy research papers for law school related stuff. So what else? Well, I don't know. This has been the first week. I am so tired and I really just want to quilt. And I'm so tired that when I tried to quilt last night, it all has to get ripped out tonight. So I think I'm going to take a nap. And then I'm just going to quilt all the rest of the weekend. It's Mardi Gras here, so happy Mardi Gras. And keep listening. I'll do a little preview one, like something like this for next week. So once we figure out who's going up next week, I'll do that. If you know someone that wants to be interviewed or you want to be interviewed, join the Quilting Army and just drop us a line. So psyched this is finally up after 6 months. Can't wait. Grow the Army. Even if we're small, we'll be small but mighty. It doesn't have to be 1 million people. We've got 100 of us right now, and I'm pretty psyched about that. So again, keep listening. If you have suggestions, there has been a suggestion that we cut it to half an hour for each interview. So if you guys have any suggestion on that, if you like the hour-long format or if you prefer them shorter, let me know. So again, this is Elizabeth Townsend Guard. This is our first week. We are all very tired. Thank you so much for your support, coming out to the events, liking things, being part of the Army. Keep commenting, keep putting good comments on iTunes. That really matters. Download them. Download a bunch of them, even if you don't listen to all of them. Download them because it matters for iTunes. And I'll see you next week. So this is Elizabeth Townsend Guard. You've been listening to Just Wanna Quilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School. We want to hear from you. Join our army, our quilting army. Go to our Facebook page. Suggest people to be interviewed. Suggest yourself to be interviewed. We are excited to hear from you. But most importantly, I hope you get a chance to quilt today.